So I've just beat Kingdom Hearts 3 Critical Mode, and man, it is a mixed bag of potatoes. It's good in some areas, but holy crap, it is awful in a lot of areas, which I'll get into. But it's been a while since I made a video. I kind of just took a breakish thing kind of to digest what I want to more so make this channel, so I'm not throwing my content down a drain, but which I've actually had fun talking about, like the Final Fantasy news, and for some reason it got completely crapped on, which it could have been just because I was having a good time, and apparently people don't like memes at the beginning of videos and burping, so I have no idea. So I took the liberty to undigest Numora's tears. They're back to the ecosystem now, in which we get our water. So I hope that satisfied those people. On top of that, I think they were more so clicking on the video trying to find leaks, which, again, if you're just that dumb to think people are posting the leaks, besides people uploading the demo, which they're crazy enough, but if you think people are actually going to show the damn leaks on video, you're crazy. The video's gonna get shot down and clapped, alright? That ain't happening. Anyways, I digress though. I figured to just hit on that a little bit just to kind of start things off. That's not the reason why I went away though. I just more so wanted to make sure I kept my content fresh, if that makes sense. So with that, let's get into Kingdom Hearts 3 Critical Mode. Now this mode is harder than Kingdom Hearts 2's Critical Mode. You know what? I think it's just as hard as BBS's and 3D's Critical Mode, in which I didn't like BBS or 3D's Critical Mode at all. It's legitimately torture. Torture, I say. Anyways, every fight feels like the nobody fight before the Garden of Assemblage. It is just that bad. It's so bad in Frozen that I literally had to quit, because I literally couldn't feel like I could level up because the hordes were just too much. But in particular, I didn't have as big of a problem as I did in Frozen. Frozen's probably the worst world out of the beginning worlds. After you go through the beginning worlds and get through that Frozen boss somehow, because that Frozen boss is absolute crap, which hopefully the REmind patch fixes him, and having him have more of a predictability with that final phase, because it quite literally will get you stuck completely, because there's no sense of vulnerability to be opened, because he's always in retaliation mode. After that, once you hit Monsters Inc., you can actually have fun with Critical Mode, because you don't feel like the hordes are as bad as they were in the previous worlds you went to, and I didn't feel it as bad as in Pirates either.
Get up on the Hydra's back! Get up on the Hydra's back!
Big Hero 6 is really good too in its execution of it, but it falls apart on its last boss because you're in control of Baymax, in which the Dark Baymax, I'm gonna call him, kinda is weird. You really have to learn his patterns and realize, oh, I can attack these cubes, and then, oh, I guess I have to attack randomly to get him stunned, which I did not like at all. And then the responsiveness of dodge is another problem I somewhat have with Kingdom Hearts 3 in general, but it's just worse while controlling Baymax. So I just felt I couldn't do much to him. I was at a point where I was just like, alright, I'm just going to keep attacking, not even use any more strategies, because strategies in Kingdom Hearts 3 sometimes is like you just can't have one, you just have to go for it. That's basically it. As for the one-on-one fights, they were really fun. Like, they were the most chill fights I've seen on Critical Mode. I'll even emphasize the Big Easy. Phantom Aqua was fun, and I died a few times on her. It wasn't as bad as the bosses and the worlds I've done before. So I really just had fun with those bosses, including the Vanitas fight. I beat him first try somehow, and I just felt like it was a fun battle. But then, we get to the organization fights, and that's where my sanity started to lose itself. Now these bosses are good in execution, but they fall apart when both of them are attacking you, when the camera screws up, which I really meant this to be an in general problem with the game. The camera just tends to mess up quite a bit in certain cases, not just with the organization fight, which it does happen occasionally. I just currently can't find the clip because I got so much backstock footage that it's really hard for me to find an example of it right now, but that's just something to, you know, mention because the camera can get very annoying at points, and you just don't know when they're vulnerable sometimes, and then you just have to guess, okay, I guess I'm not gonna block here, I'm just going to go for an attack. Also, sometimes when you go to do your counter move, it does not attack the enemy, which makes you completely vulnerable, and then you just die. So, let me just tell you, it was not a pleasant experience, but treading my way through that and reaching the 3 Norts, realizing that I was completely underleveled and decided to actually power level to 42, the Nort boss is a bit annoying, and I say bit very loosely here. I thought it was just really annoying in terms of the moves they used, but once I started learning their patterns, they weren't that bad, but getting 3 hit a lot of the time really hurt me. But hey, at least a controller was not broke. But after defeating them and learning their patterns, I can say that they are good fights. It's just Kingdom Hearts 3 works in a way where you just have to be open-minded when you're going into things, realizing it's not gonna be completely balanced the way you'd like it, and to be completely free of thinking that you're like going to be able to attack an enemy when you know sometimes it'll just screw you over and then you'll just die in one hit. That's basically my thoughts on those fights. Now the Xehanort fights weren't so bad, although I did feel the volcanoes camera and just that segment was a little annoying, which, you know, I can actually see and play the game instead of having the game play it for me, like on proud mode, but I digress. I just see the flaws in terms of like the camera, and then it refocusing on Xehanort, it sometimes screwed me over, and especially getting stun locked into 2 fires and just dying, that especially was super annoying, which maybe that's what the game intended, but I don't agree with that's what the game intended for that to happen, because it definitely doesn't look natural in my opinion. Also, I did find Xehanort's fight to be a bit more annoying than usual, because when you guard in midair, you can't guard again when you free fall. So quite a big fix to that is jump again to block again. I'm not sure if it constantly works for that first phase, but I realized that in 3rd phase, where you constantly had glide available to you, in which that just made my life so much easier. Also, I will say his counter thing, his counter grab is very unpredictable in my opinion, which, you know, I only fought him once on critical mode, but it just happens so weirdly. Like, he doesn't really give a hint when he goes to do it. It's just like, oh, here's a scripted ass event, and, you know, you got your counter guard going, and you go to attack him and he just does that. You know, that's just really annoying. On his last phase, it's not so bad. He's really easy at that point, in my opinion. I didn't really have trouble. I mean, I died a few times, but that was more so me actually learning the patterns, because it was my first time fighting him. And so I don't really think he was so much difficult, though I do find it to be so BS when he puts you in dark form, because it's so hard to get back to light form. I guess that's the way I'm gonna say it. It's just really agitating, in my opinion, to get through that phase, because it's a hit or miss if like your counter will actually hit. It's hit or miss if he's actually vulnerable, which is a lot of the time this type of stuff happens in this game. But it was manageable enough for me, because I learned most of the pattern in proud mode, and I also watched Biscuit's video on, or no, I think I watched the stream to kind of get those problem with the light beams I was having on proud mode out of the way, so those weren't the issues, just more so Xehanort being somewhat very unpredictable in that stage. And then you get on to the part after that, which, ooh, those beams of light are very, very agitating. I ended up just dodge rolling a crap ton at a point, because I'm like, I don't want to screw with this because they're unblockable. So with all that being said, I figured to make this video before REmind comes out to give you guys my initial thoughts of Kingdom Hearts 3 Critical Mode without the REmind patch, because from what I hear, which maybe it might change quite a bit, especially with the new guard from Oblivion and Oathkeeper. Not sure if they'll have the same guard, but it sort of seems like it. And a few times I actually had Osaka guard happen, which I really don't feel like going back and showing you, and it didn't happen too often for me to, I guess, put it and make a huge problem with it in the video, which I know it does happen more to others, but for me I really didn't have the issue as much as some people are, and a lot of people go back and refight these bosses, which I wish they were more readily available to refight, but sadly they aren't. But I do have a save where Phantom Aqua is. I just wish these were more readily available, but hopefully they have battle portals and REmind to let you go back and fight these bosses again, so you can actually practice them. And let me say this, I do find critical mode to be good. It's just the hordes and the heartless bosses are just awful in this mode. They don't feel like they balance them properly, which I hope with an update, or with the REmind update coming out, they do. They fix some of this stuff, which I know every little problem that I had, of course won't be fixed. I just some areas just do not feel like they were QA tested at all, and it just shows with the amount of times that I died. And I don't even want to get into it because I already expressed this in my other video on why Kingdom Hearts 3 is a bad console release, comparing them to Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, not just 2, okay? But you get my point here. I'm just saying that, you know, hopefully they've been listening to criticism, which they have. They've done a few things here, especially with the synthesis. That checkbox is a lifesaver, let me tell you. But hopefully not just UI problems, they actually, you know, go back and fix some of these issues that are in the combat system and in the gameplay, so that the mode is just a lot better to play for years to come, and is looked upon as a good thing rather than constantly having these glaring issues and then always being memed on for it. So with that, please be sure to put your thoughts in the comments down below, because I'm curious to what you guys thought. Do we have a similar opinion? Do we have a disagreement in the chat? Which I feel like we probably will, because I'd be a bit too cynical when it comes to Kingdom Hearts, and I even can admit that. I'm not a Kingdom Hearts 2 stan, I'm more of a Kingdom Hearts 1 stan in terms of that story, but even still, I'm not even really a stan. I'm very open-minded. I like 3D because it's fun, but screw that critical mode in 3D and Julius. Alright? Alright, I don't know where the hell this video is going, so I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.